is NSU Radio, the heart of Northumbria. This is NSU Radio.
Here at NSU Radio, we have something big coming your way. Join us for our 24-hour live broadcast to raise money for the Great North Air Ambulance in partnership with the Disability, Diversity and Equality Society. It all kicks off on Wednesday the 3rd of April from 8 p.m, and we will be with you all the way through the night with some great content and some cheeky games to all raise money for this amazing charity. You'll also be able to find us in the entrance to the Students' Union on Thursday daytime, where you can meet members from both societies and donate as little or as much as you like. So make sure you're tuned in, 8 p.m, Wednesday the 3rd of April, here on NSU Radio. And let's all do something epic.
This is NSU Radio, the heart of Northumbria.
This show contains explicit content. If you're easily offended, please head across to www.nsu-radio.com to listen to one of our other brilliant shows.
And we're back. Welcome to Caleb and Pinkie's Creepy Corner.
Hello, everybody. Oh, hello. Sorry, hello.
I was a bit stylish there. I apologise.
Sorry
but,
for interrupting your
yes,
stuff.
before we do properly get into it, we would obviously have to do the plugs. I'm going to be greedy. Start off with our own. If you want to see what we do online, we've got a Twitter, Instagram and Facebook. You can follow us at either _Creepy Corner or at CP Creepy Corner.
And you can watch us on YouTube. We're live right now, and you can also watch us after the show whenever you want, if you want to catch up.
So you've got some Creepy Corner on demand there.
Yeah.
But yes, we've got an extra plug today, in which it is the SU's for those watching, the SU's 24-hour society charity.
It's another 10 for being super prepared and informed.
Yeah. It's as simple as
It's a 24-hour radio event.
Yeah,
essentially, and we're going to be participating.
It says on the can, isn't it? It's just exactly what it says. It's a 24-hour radio event that
for charity.
For what was the name of the charity again?
The Great North Air.
Great North Air Ambulance. Yeah, I can get behind that. Air ambulances need some help too. But yes, quite ironically, after going on from air ambulances, our main topic for today is serial killers, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
This is one of your favourite tasks to talk about, isn't it?
I don't know. I think the psychology behind it is so interesting. Like, what would I don't know. Push a person to do things like some people have done.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Is while researching my two, which I'll reveal very soon, but I'll be nice enough to let you go first, since this one's your little pet passion.
Oh, all right, thank you.
But no, there is a lot of these things are very psychologically based, isn't it? And it's a lot.
Well, all of them. I mean.
Yeah, pretty much. Something's happened in each of these person's life to turn them from a normal person into a psychopath.
But that's another thing. That's the eternal debate of is a serial killer made or
born? Yeah.
I think it's a bit of both.
Yeah, I think I've got a good example for both sides in that one. But before I go into mine, would you like to start us off?
Yes, I did a little poll on our Instagram asking people if they preferred Charles Manson or Richard Ramirez. And to my surprise, more people prefer Richard Ramirez.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm genuinely amazed by that. I literally thought Charles Manson would have won by a landslide because all the weird white girls just fangirl over him.
Stop shitting on white
I've genuinely had someone try to argue with me that Charles Manson did nothing wrong because he technically didn't murder anyone. I was like, yeah, neither did Hitler, but he also kind of allowed it. He sort of put the ideas in there. Are you trying to sort out my technical stuff again?
Yeah, it's just so people can see you a bit better.
They don't want to see me.
Our camera setup is a bit over to the other side.
It's the best quality. I don't know what you're on about.
No, I mean, yeah, the sound is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And also I asked people last week if they liked the new format, and most of the people did, so that's cool.
Plus. Thank you guys for the interactions.
But yeah, I was gonna talk about either Richard Ramirez or Charles Manson, depending on the time that I had. So I guess I'm gonna start with Richard Ramirez.
Yeah, go on. Go with the favourite.
So he was born in 1960 in Texas. Usually, like when they're born is not really that relevant. I just like to give a bit of like basic biography background information. But yeah, he was born to Hispanic parents, and apparently his dad was like really abusive. So like whenever he could, he like was leaving the house constantly, like from a very young age.
Yeah, trying to escape it.
Yeah, he would even like sleep in like graveyards and stuff.
Damn. Oh yeah. I'm sorry. Come on.
I mean, so far I really like graveyards, and so far I haven't nor want to nor plan to kill anyone.
But have you ever decided? But have you ever decided? Do you know what's the best place for a sleepover?
I mean,
graveyard.
Luckily, I've never seen myself in the situation where I've like been so desperate that I had to sleep in a graveyard. Plus, like graveyards aren't really like.
But even then, I would pick any open field over a graveyard.
I mean, no one's going in there.
No
one's gonna bother you in there.
Very true. I mean, I think I've told you this story before, haven't I? About how my dad attempted to sleep in a graveyard for a bet just because he wanted to prove he was hard. Spoiler alert: he wasn't hard. He was a little girl and ran off. Although I feel like that's like less being a wimp, more being logical. Like yes, the best place to sleep is a graveyard. No, it's not. Anyone who isn't scared of sleeping in a graveyard, is quite obviously a serial killer.
I mean, I don't think I would be particularly like scared. I don't know. I don't like believe in ghosts that much. It's just like the main like darkness and openness of everything. I don't know. People have been found murdered in
it's just it's the perfect place for stabbers. Everyone knows this.
But yeah, Sophie Jennison is watching us, and she agrees that like it is very fascinating to know like why exactly like people commit these murders, because like sometimes you can kind of argue that there's a motive, but sometimes like Richard Ramirez, which I'm gonna talk about,
it's just random. Yeah,
it's not really like a defined like motive. But yeah, so his family was very violent. Like all his brothers were like very like had a tendency for like violent outbursts, so like even him had and at some point, well, when he was 2 and when he was 5 years old, he suffered like very severe head injuries, which like to some people might have like some influence to
knock something out of place.
Yeah, because like a really common like thing between like serial killers is that they have like I think it's the frontal lobe of their brain like injured or like malfunctioning
like
in some way.
Yeah.
So yeah, that might have caused that.
Well, I mean, there's that famous. I know we're going off a tangent here,
right.
but like, there's that famous incident of the guy who had a railroad spike lodged through his brain.
Jesus Christ!
And somehow, he survived. They took the railroad spike out and fixed and stitched him back up. However, he seemed to be really pissed off and much less of a nice person after that. No, and everyone has the same idea. Oh yeah, it's because of the railroad spike. Some people saying, well, wouldn't you be pissed if a railroad spike going through your head? Most of the logical people going, yeah, it kind of buggered up as... What? She's being a mum again. But some other people just thought, yeah, something... about the railroad spike just damaging his brain completely changed his personality.
I mean, I don't know how true this is, but haven't people like woken up from like comas, like speaking a whole language that they never learned? Like,
I know, that's weird.
Or like with a different accent.
God, why that can't happen to me? I want to learn Spanish that easily.
I mean,
shot me into a coma.
I guess it's one of those things where like isn't handsome Squidward like become handsome when they beat him up? It's like you never really know. Like,
do I need to hand you a baseball bat right now? Make me smart and knowledgeable. Smart, knowledgeable, and beautiful and handsome.
Anyway, we're gonna stop that tangent before.
Serial killers, that fun stuff. Let's go.
Yes. So, apparently, he was the youngest of 5 siblings in total, and all of them had like medical problems, which, by the way, might have or probably did have something to do with the fact that they lived like very close to New Mexico, where like all the like atomic bomb like testing had gone on, and like nuclear dropout is like a serious thing, and like
he was a nuclear serial killer. He was a fucking super villain. The worst supervillain he could get. Please tell me he literally did kill women and children.
Yeah, and like
I'm sorry. He's risen from serial killer level to superhero, supervillain level.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna say damn, that's quite the supervillain. But yeah.
But yeah, and also like his mother, while she was pregnant with him, she worked with like very strong chemicals, which like it's just like such a recipe for disaster. It's like, but yeah, and also like just his entire life, like I guess he's like a kind of good example of both made and like born.
Yeah, like there could have been something already wrong with him with the amount of radiation he absorbed in the womb, but at the same time, having an abusive dad, which again is for some reasons very common within serial killers, that at least one parent figure is abusive.
I mean it's very important, like a kid's development, like the relationship with their parents.
That's when they develop the most.
Yeah,
but yes,
plus because like your parents, you look up to your parents, and like they kind of set the precedent for like what your other relationships with people are meant to be like. So like that's why a lot of like, I guess that's why a lot of people like abuse their like spouses and stuff, because they're used to seeing that, and maybe in like their parents, like maybe they have abusive parents either with them or like their mothers or something like that. So they're used to that. I don't have
any mates, because I saw my dad having no mates.
Oh my god.
And he just grew he's passed on the Billy No Mates idol to me.
To be honest, like my parents have like very like little but close friends, and I'm the same. So like I don't know, maybe that. I'm
glad you picked up your mum's personality and not your dad's. I'm sorry, that would be much sweeter. It's like coming over here and refusing to learn English.
You can say hi if you want. You might be listening.
Hi, sorry, they're both lovely. I'll try to save my own skin, but I do love your parents, but
my dad's my dad. But
he's funny. He's a good laugh.
Anyway, oh yeah, I'm not even like I haven't even started. Like he was made in so many ways. Like it's not even like his abusive family and stuff. Like I think it was his uncle. I don't know if it was his uncle, because he was like around like 12 years old, and his uncle was like older. He had gone to Vietnam, and he like told him and showed him like pictures and like stories and stuff of like times when he would be like really abusive to women and like kill them, and he showed him a picture of like him with like a woman's like head in his hand. And so like he like grew up thinking that these things were normal, and like associating like sex with like violence and shit like that. And his brother before going to his brother, they smoked weed together, and the uncle showed him how to kill people with stealth. Like, what? Don't do that. Like, do not do that. Oh my god. But anyway,
it's bad that somehow that seems logical for an uncle to do, because everyone's got that weird uncle who like.
But like, don't show pictures to your fucking niece of like dead bodies from Vietnam. Like, that's not okay. And tell like stories about like rapes and stuff. Like, no,
I don't think that's ever okay, and whether you're the weird uncle or not.
I mean, that's not the weird uncle. That's just a psycho uncle. Like, don't. But so yeah, his brother also showed him how to like break into houses and stuff, which is just great. Like, just great combination. And also like the uncle, like one day when he was like in his house with him, he killed his wife in front of him and his kids. Just casually.
What?
Yeah, shoot her in the head. I don't remember exactly what it was. I guess it was just like a stupid argument. And like he just like shot her in the head in front of Richard and like the uncle's kids.
Jesus Christ.
She didn't die right there, but she did die. But yeah, that's just lovely.
Yeah, I'm starting to see why this guy kind of ended the way he did already.
Yeah. So what else? What other many things? At one point he moves in with his sister and his husband, I think it is, and his husband is a peeping Tom of all things. So he basically takes him on peeping Tom adventures and like just showing him how to like how do these people get together? Honestly, like I don't. It's, anyway. At one point he gets like really interested in like drugs and stuff, and like harder, more hallucinogenic drugs, and he gets really interested in like Satanism. And he came from a very Catholic family, so he already believed in like God, so it was that sort of thing. And he even travels to meet Anton LaVey, the creator of LaVeyan Satanism, which is pretty much like modern Satanism.
Come on. Is there no way this guy's a supervillain? Like, he's got an abusive family. He like was showing dead bodies young as a kid. He smoked all of the drugs, like, and probably more. Like, and like he could quite casually sleep next to dead people. This is a supervillain, guys. How is nothing blaring off in their head?
There's even more.
God.
Yeah. So he gets sent to like juvie camp or whatever because of like minor crimes of like breaking into people's houses and stuff, but like nothing really happens. But he gets a job eventually at a hotel, and he starts doing very sketchy stuff. So like at first he starts like stealing people's keys and like breaking into their like rooms and like stealing them.
Yeah.
But then it's like, oh, this is way too easy. So what he does is he fucking like goes into people's rooms and waits there, and while they're there sleeping, he robs them and leaves.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Imagine,
Did you just say
imagine
he's stealing from them.
Yeah,
Like-
yeah, just stealing. I think at one point he did like try something else and like he got caught or something, but he got lucky like a lot of times. Like a couple times he got like caught like breaking into people's houses and stuff because it was like too complicated and stuff. No, I think it was the hotel stuff because like the couple. Sorry, I'm like putting my thoughts in order. But yeah, at one point, this woman caught him, but her husband was like coming in. But they didn't press charges or anything because they were from a different state and it would have been like very complicated and very expensive. And like they weren't planning on coming back to Texas. So it's like, we'll just leave it alone. And he could have been like caught like...
The word you were looking for was robbed them, by the way. He wasn't stealing the people themselves.
Well, excuse you. If
I couldn't get over the fact that he was like, oh, he'd get caught. It's like, excuse me, just picks full person up, goes away.
You have nothing to say about my English.
I'm just terribly just up my own ass.
I'm gonna expose your ass for that.
Go on.
I was teaching him the Spanish vowels today.
Right. No, because you did not get my point.
Wait a second. No, Spanish vowels are a single fucking sound.
Say them how you say them. Right. Hang on. For all the English listeners out there,
it's a single sound.
It's
one sound per letter. It's one sound per letter. If you want to make more sounds, you add letters together, and that's how fucking language works. You know.
For the English listeners out there who know the correct way of saying it, this is what she's going on about. The letters A, E, I, O, U. However, the Spanish are weird because they don't say it right. You say it as if it's lowercase. You don't do that when it's letters by themselves.
Literally, letters sound the same, lower and uppercase. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Anyway, Richard Ramirez.
See, this is why English is brilliant.
So at one point, he moves to California and like commits more crimes and like he's in the police radar because it's like he's gotten caught a couple of times, but it's like again like petty crime and shit like that. Yeah. So his first murder is in 1984, but it's not attributed to him until 2009, and it's a 9-year-old kid.
What?
Yes.
He starts off with a 9-year-old kid.
Yes, and then goes on to murder a 69-year-old woman.
That's a bit of a dick move.
I don't know exactly like what the range of his killings are, but I'm pretty sure 9 years old is definitely the youngest.
I was gonna say that's probably just him going for easy targets at that point, because obviously when anyone who's ever going to think of, please don't for one, think of going to become a serial killer.
Yeah, no.
I'm not advocating such acts. Bad serial killer. Oh no, camera's up there. There we are. I keep forgetting. I'm just looking at the screen. But it seems that like whenever they do start, it's always with someone vulnerable because they're not confident enough with their own ability to kill a person.
He did carry on to then like go for like literal like handicapped people.
Oh,
and
he was
more
just
elderly people.
He was just a full-on dick then.
Yeah, like most of the time what he did, especially if he broke into like couples' houses and stuff, he would like shoot the husband and then do whatever the fuck he wanted to the wife, and like sometimes he would rape them like before killing them or like after killing them or both, and like I don't know, just do like all horrible stuff and like torture them and just.
Wait, so hang on, he would kill them and then do stuff?
Yeah, sometimes he would do that. Yeah.
Oh, that's next level fucked.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that goes in like the same like control thing. It's like
I can control your life and then decide what I do with you afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, it is a thing.
Yeah,
like it's like who was it that was it Jeffrey Dahmer that wanted to do like the zombies and stuff? Like he injected like acid into people's brains, so they weren't like completely dead, but they were like pretty much like
brain dead.
Yeah,
I can't remember who that was, but I think it was
Jeffrey Dahmer. But yeah, just what?
we've got our own sticker.
Have we?
Yeah.
Where is it?
It's right there. For people who don't know,
There it
on the
is.
wall of the studio, we have a nice little wall with every single show's sticker. And it seems to have been recently updated
Yes.
to the point
I
we've
always,
got our own.
I always
was
check to see
wanting
if
that.
if like ours is there, but I didn't check today, and today there it is.
We're having
Nice.
so many distractions today. But yes,
It's okay.
go on.
It's
It's a
a-
nice distraction, wholesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just like have
Let's
a
go on
few
to
like
the
cases
juicy
listed.
stuff.
Yeah, well, he has a break for like a few months, but then again in 1985 he goes on to kill around like 12 people in the span of like 5 or 6 months. So
Damn.
yeah. And well, like I said, a couple of people like manage to escape. So this one girl like saves herself, but her roommate does die because like and this is like such a like a film stuff like
Like running through the
proper,
fields,
like-
like proper scream.
no. Like he, I don't know how he chose his targets, to be honest, but like she was just walking casually down the street, and then she sees him, and like he usually used like a gun or the things like just items from like people's houses. Like he liked to like kill them and like just use things that they had already in their house. But he did carry a gun. Which is weird, and I was gonna talk about this later, but I guess I'll talk about it now. Because like usually serial killers, like it comes with the thing that they, I don't know.
They put a label to themselves.
No. It's just like they. Part of the process is that like closeness to the victim, so like a lot of them will like strangle them or like stab them and stuff like that, like somewhere like on like hands-on stuff where like a gun isn't usually used because it's more like impersonal and like distance and stuff. Like that's what people use when they really don't want to like face killing someone. Like what was the name of the guy that got caught recently that killed his like pregnant wife and kid?
Bugger if I know. It
He's
happens
such an
at such
asshole.
a point. Anyone who kills a
Yeah, no,
pregnant
but he
wife-
went on. He's one of those people that like went on to go on TV and be like, "Oh, I wish, like, I hope they find them soon. Like, I don't know where they are. Like, please come home." And it's like, fucking asshole.
I remember that.
Anyway, so the way that this girl saves herself. So like, she sees him. What did you do?
I just banged
You
Mel
know.
on the radiator, like a smart ass I am.
So she sees him and like puts her like hand over her face with like her keys in her hand, and like the keys like deflect the fucking bullet.
What? She's right. Hang on. How can you tell me that this isn't? I'm sorry for shouting, but how can you tell me that this is not a comic book thing? He just accidentally targeted fucking Wonder Woman and just went "Wha-ting!" And
I
like,
swear, imagine being that person. Although I
That's
do think
sick, though.
that she ended up dying.
Oh yeah, but at that point, her life's peaked. She deflected a bullet with the
Or maybe
keys
not,
in her
maybe
hand.
not. Maybe because like definitely her roommate did, because like she heard the shots and she went to hide, and like when she didn't hear anything, she like popped her hair out and literally got shot.
I wouldn't mind dying after that point. I would have known my life's peaked. What's that? Like this person died.
You can't just fucking give up after that. It's like, beach, I'm gonna go fucking
I've
live
got
my
nothing
life.
better to do. I deflected a bullet with my keys.
Excuse you, that's when you do shit. That's like,
True.
I can do anything now.
True, that is one of those things where it's a proper yes and on moment. It's like, no, but that's when it goes downhill because you think you are superpowered and you just go down the same dark road.
Speak for yourself. But yeah, so it gets to like the media and stuff, and at first it took a bit for them to like realize that it was a serial killer, because like sometimes it was just like so random, like the targets and stuff, because like it would range from like 9-year-old kids to like fucking 70-year-old grandmas. But like there was kind of like a method to it, and they found like a couple of like footprints and stuff that kind of like just linked it.
Yeah.
And there was a point where like the mayor of like, I don't know what town, like one of the or cities, one of the killings had happened. She was like, oh yeah, we have like all the evidence, we know what shoes you have and what thing you have and what this and that. So he goes, oh okay, I think it was San Francisco, yeah, because then he goes to the fucking Golden Gate and throws his shoes off, and it's like, you
What an
fucking idiot. Like,
Who
you don't
does-
do that.
Who just goes, hey, serial killer, we're this close from finding you. Don't throw that evidence away. Okay. And then just sort of goes, they just expect him to just be a good dude about it.
He didn't get rid of the gun though. They didn't know what gun he used, but he didn't get rid of the gun.
Well,
Just the shoes.
Well, I imagine the gun had a bit more personal thing to it, because
Maybe,
it's
I
that
don't
thing.
know. Well, I
It's like
guess
you
it would
say,
be,
is
like,
that
harder
even
to
though they're
find.
not being physically intimate with the
Well,
acts, they can still put the intimacy into an object, especially the object that does it.
Yeah, I guess there was a murder where like he did like take a souvenir. Although like some documentaries say that it was a souvenir, but another girl that I heard talk about this, she basically explained that it might have been because she. Like the victims tried to escape or something like that. Like it was a whole thing because like it wasn't like the only people that kind of
and
almost
it might have
managed
had
to-
his blood on.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, not that. It's like
just some sort of DNA.
no. It's like, well, back then DNA wasn't really
Oh,
that
yeah,
big a
yeah.
thing, so it was mostly like prints and stuff. But no, it was basically because like he got like really angry at them because they tried to like escape and stuff. So he got like really like vicious. So literally fucking mutilated her and like gouged her eyes out and put them in a jewelry box of her own and took them.
Oh.
But he didn't really do that sort of thing, I don't think, like apart from that, like frequently. He
Yeah.
like, well, at one point he did start like putting a lot of like satanic symbols. Like he would get like lipsticks or like things from like people's houses and like draw them on the wall. Or like at one point he did it on like a woman's thigh. And
What,
like
just cut it into her?
no, just draw it with lipstick.
Oh, right.
But a lot of people also think that he might have just done this for like clout, like for media attention.
Satanic gang.
Because like literally like at that time, satanic panic was a thing, and like the Manson.
I like the rhyme with that.
Satanic panic. I love that. Yeah, it's a thing that happened during like the 60s and
That's
70s and
brilliant.
stuff like that, where like people were like legit. Like I think it mostly like came from the Manson family and stuff like that, and Anton LaVey. Like a lot of like, I don't know, like after the hippies, like I guess like everything has like a slingshot effect or like a I don't know, a positive and negative reaction. So I guess that all like kind of came out of the summer of love and hippies and all that shit.
I'm assuming this the last that got away was one of the reasons he eventually got caught.
Kind of, but not really. Like they didn't really see much of him most of the time. He did have a very kind of like characteristic face. Like his teeth were all like fucking fucked from taking a lot of drugs, and like his breath was awful, and like his face and all that stuff. Like how
so he
thin
was
it was.
proper. He was proper like meth heads. Like,
I don't.
crazy.
Yeah, well, he took like
Everything.
hallucinogens. I don't know.
God,
I mean, it was like
he
kinda
must
big.
have looked savage to just have in front of you. Like he must.
He
have
looks so fucking scary. Like, have you ever seen like pictures of like
no,
the
I've
scary
never
pictures
seen,
of him?
Like no. What?
Well, you
I'll
Google
grab
in
them
your own
up.
time.
Yeah, I'll do
But-
that on my own time.
So yeah, he just loved the media attention, so he probably just did the satanic stuff for like to get more attention.
Yeah.
But they catch him when he's 25 years old.
Wait,
so like all of this has happened before he turned 25 years old.
Jesus Christ. I mean, I can kind of understand going for the weaker targets now because, like,
I guess, but he was a very scary looking person. Like if someone like
Yeah.
that just points a gun at you, I think you're gonna kind of do whatever you want.
yeah, but like, oh my God,
Yeah.
Jesus, that is quite a young age to what? Imagine if he didn't get caught. That is like centuries worth of like killing he would had
Yeah.
to be able to do because, I mean, even back then people lived about what 60, 70 odd, like something like
yeah,
that.
I guess it depends on a lot of
I mean,
things,
like he
but-
would have all of his life left just to
Yeah.
keep this up.
Well, they did catch him because because of a stolen car. Because he like wiped it down and all that stuff, but apparently he left like a couple fingerprints, so they managed to like catch him because of that. Because he stole the car and then he abandoned it.
Yeah, yeah.
So then that's how they found it. There's a point where like he's like, I'll just like chill somewhere else because like police. Well, he doesn't know that he's like being caught pretty much.
Yeah, yeah.
Because like they associated him with like other crimes that he had committed and all that stuff, and like because of the fingerprint,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
like they didn't like put two and two together. But yeah, he basically was like, I'll just keep it on the DL for a while, and he goes and like visits his brother in Arizona, I think it was.
Mhm.
And at one point he gets there and he doesn't, like, his brother's not there or something, so he comes back and he spends like fucking all day traveling. So he goes back to LA and he sees like a shit ton of police because at this point like they're out for him,
Yeah, yeah.
but they're looking for people getting on buses to leave, not people arriving. So he kind of manages to like finesse himself out of the situation. But eventually, like, I think it was pretty much that same day, they do find him because like there's like pictures of him everywhere in like all the
Yeah.
newspapers and stuff. So like people start like talking to each other like, fuck, that's fucking
That's
him.
him.
Like,
That's him. He's just
so
right there.
they do a full-on fucking movie, like, once again, like, chase through LA.
Jesus.
Like, proper, like, running after him and everything, and people just, like, and at some point, like, this guy, like, stops him in his yard and just starts beating the shit out of him. And this one guy joins him. This guy just joins him with a fucking metal bar.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
He generally got the shit beat out of him.
Yeah.
Damn.
Ooh, my shirt
I think, yeah, we've just got an answer to that reference you made earlier by Sophie again. Thank you, Sophie.
Yes, it is Christopher Watts. Yes, that's the
Christopher
man.
Watts, the guy who just killed his wife and kids.
Yeah, that was
The
fucking
best of
disgusting.
the best type of famous to have, you know, family and child killer.
It's just like
gonna
when
go
when
well.
they go on TV. That's why like the John Mulaney like case and all that is also like very fascinating. Like just their interviews and stuff and like their body language. Like when they go on TV, it's like who the
Let
fuck
us not
do you
forget.
think you're kidding?
Maddie.
Oh yeah, that's another one.
Now we're Maddie McCann. She's in my fridge. that's
Kind
not
of love
my.
that meme. but,
That's
like,
not right. That's not me confessing to anything there. Just for
Yes.
reference, that is a song
For legal
on the
reasons,
internet.
this is a joke.
Yes.
Have you heard PewDiePie's latest song? There's like a couple verses that are
Oh
like
my
that. Like
God.
for legal reasons, this is a joke, and it's fucking funny because like it's true and sad. So yeah, there's a point where like he gets arrested and he literally asks a police officer to like put a bullet through his head because it's like, I'm done, and the police officer's like, yeah, no man, It's like, we're only getting started.
We're not getting paid here enough for that.
And a lot of people like describe him as being like having like an empty gaze, like black eyes, like soulless eyes and shit like that. And at the time he was like the most expensive trial ever in the US. Like translated to inflation,
Really?
I think it was a couple $1 million, but translated to inflation it was like $3 million. And the only one that like
Christ.
overtook that was the OJ trial, which makes sense.
Didn't have the best results there, did it?
Yeah.
So, more money, less results.
Because that's the thing, it was a 4-year trial. Because it was like in different like counties and states and like different cities and stuff. And he was also like very disruptive, just on purpose, just like mess with people. So he would wear like sunglasses and like paint pentagrams on like his hand. Like there's a very iconic picture of him just like turning around with a pentagram in his hand, just like
Jesus Christ.
or like doing the like horn thing.
He just made a massive show of it.
Yeah, like just firing and hiring like different lawyers all the time. Like he would have like groupies, like satanic groupies and shit like that.
Of
like,
course he did.
There was a member of the jury that was actually in love with him, and like she would send him like shit and
Surely
and he would like wink at her. Like well, she got dismissed.
I was going to say, yeah.
It was really hard apparently to like find a neutral like jury because like for a trial
most
like
people
this,
hated him and then
like,
others loved him. The psychos themselves loved
yeah,
him.
but also like you have to find people that have barely like heard anything about the crime because you need a like as biased of an opinion as possible. So like it was pretty much impossible at that time, like especially after how famous like the Manson murders and all that stuff had become. It was just pretty much impossible. But in and also he gets married to another girl that they start talking by like letters and shit. They meet in 1996. Oh no, they get married in 1996. But they split in 2009, and no one really knows why. Because like she always maintained that he was innocent. So I guess she just didn't anymore. But yeah, in 1989 he was sentenced to 19 death sentences to the gas chamber.
We're gonna gas you, and then while you're dead, gas you again. Yo, dog, heard you like gas, so we put gas in your gas so you can die while you die. I think that's brilliant. That like someone actually did something so bad. It was like, sorry, man, me to kill you more than once.
Yeah, well, I mean, life sentences and stuff work like that. It's like, oh, we sentence you to fucking 300 years. It's like, oh, okay.
I'm going to live that, aren't I? Yeah.
All right. Honestly, well, we do have a lot of like overpopulation in like prisons, but like honestly, I wish they invented something to like make prisoners like live longer, so they have to like pay for longer. Like that's the worst. Like torture.
because that means we have to pay for them to go in for longer.
That's true. But I want them to suffer, man. But yeah, he's convicted of 13 murders, 5 attempted murders, 11 counts of sexual assault, and 14 counts of burglary.
Jesus.
And he spent 24 years in St. Quentin's death row. And in 2006, he starts like trying to appeal till he dies, literally. But obviously unsuccessfully because no one wants to fucking just set
Release
the man
a
free.
satanic, like mass murderer.
And his court case is 50,000 pages long. His his legal record.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And finally in 2013 he dies from complications related to like cancer, and he also had like hepatitis C.
I'm surprised he survived that long, because usually people who like kill women and children in prison, they're the ones who get the shit kicked out of them. They're the ones that not even the prisoners want anything to do with. Although I feel like he might have had a fear factor to him that just kept him safe quite a bit, and which is like completely disillusioned and like completely gone from reality mindset, kind of made him too threatening to go on here.
I don't know. Just honestly, I follow this YouTube channel that's called After Prison Show, and it's a guy that's been, I'm not sure, but he's been a couple of years in prison and he's like reformed now. It was like because of violent, because armed robbery, some shit like that. He didn't like harm anyone, I don't think.
Yeah, he's just involved with it.
And he definitely didn't kill anyone. He's a nice guy. He's like all right now. But he talks about like stuff that he did in prison and like very interesting things that you would never like think, because we only really know like what we see in the media and the films and shit like that. Yeah. And some of the things are like very exaggerated, and some of the things are not even like mentioned, and it's always very interesting like what he talks about. And he also like interviews other like ex-convicts and shit like that, and they all tell like their experiences and like stories and stuff. So it's very interesting, because you never, I don't know, it's such a weird like little society, because like it is a thing, like once you're in prison, like you have such an awareness of like the exterior and freedom and like how isolated you really are, because like it is like prison is your like world little now, because like the rest doesn't really matter, especially if you're gonna spend the rest of your life in jail. So you do have to like just rewire your brain into that being the limits of your entire like world.
To be fair, with a lot of us, like a lot of this generation, just being antisocial people who sit in their little rooms all day, I think they could survive it.
You'd be surprised. I've seen like a lot of documentaries and stuff about prison, and just like thinking about it just drives me insane. Honestly,
scared straight.
Unless they can like install some like pole for me to pole dance, because I would be fucking sick at pole dance if I had literally all the time in the world in my hands.
But you'd also make sure the other girls in the prison don't get the wrong ideas by, in the middle of a pole dance and exercise, you just grab some girl by the head with your thighs and just decapitate her.
I mean, that could be a good threat.
Thigh power.
People know not to get near my thighs. But
is that it?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I was just checking.
My go. But my version's going to be a bit more rundown, as my notes are a bit more of the sum up, and as well as that, I don't want to take up the entirety of
That's okay. I mean, I've already taken pretty much the first half, so that's all right.
Well, the person I've decided to go for is equally famous serial killer, known as... Stop fiddling.
You can just scoot over a bit.
I know.
There you go.
But known as John Wayne Gacy, or more better known as Pogo the Clown.
Go on.
Right. First off, he as a child he was quite sweet and loving.
That's what they all say.
Oh yeah. However, as usual, his dad was abusive and an alcoholic. He was really pissed off with how feminine John was, because apparently as a young age John loved doing stuff like picking flowers, cooking, and spending time with his sisters and his mum.
Homophobia? I don't know if he was gay or not, but homophobia kills.
He was bisexual.
Homophobia kills.
This actually
I'm not even like gonna...
Oh yeah, no, like it's not even as if you're assuming. No, there's generally a point in which John's like feminine qualities came out to such a point that his dad would sort of make threats saying that he would rather have a dead son than a gay son.
Oh, Jesus Christ, what's fucking wrong with people?
This is in the time in which like hate was, like homophobia was a terrible thing that was too common. But yeah, it got to the point where he started calling his son a sissy because he didn't want to do sports like his dad. He would spend more time with his mum, and his mum, trying to help him deal with his dad's abuse, would just make him feel better with food, which made him overweight quite quickly, which gave his dad more fuel to fire at him. The reason he's called John Wayne Casey is because his dad was so confident that his son was going to be the manly man he wanted to be, that he named him after John Wayne, the Western film star.
I kind of like suspected it, but I'm like, no fucking way. But yeah.
Oh, and another thing his dad did was to further the sort of psychological abuses. If he knew his son liked to do something as a hobby, but it wasn't manly enough, he forbid him to ever do it. So this kid was just basically really badly abused by his dad.
It's just so sad, because I mean, like, what do you mean? It's just so stupid.
His dad, and the abuse got worse and worse throughout the years, to the point where usually when he was drunk, his dad would escalate fights into actual fights with his wife and their mum. And whenever he came in really drunk, he'd just use it as an excuse to beat on all of the kids with a I believe a lever and a razor strap. So a lever strap. Do you know the razors they use to
like the olden time razors?
Yeah, that they use to sharpen the like cutthroat razors. This massive piece of plastic that they sharpen it on.
Oh, okay.
That's he'd take that stuff that's used to, I think, even sharpen up, just prepare a knife. Mm-hmm. It's that thick. He'd use that as a beating weapon. Yeah, this guy wasn't very nice. But the beatings got so bad at some point, something seemed to have like flicked into like clicked in John Jr.'s mind, because
I guess you would assume like everyone has a tipping point when shit like that happens.
Yeah, that was definitely a tipping point. And at one point, the kids were screaming and crying because the kids getting beat. Of course they are. Who wouldn't? Mm. But John Jr., the serial killer in the making, just at one point stopped crying, stopped and barely even flinched, which
That's so sad.
just sort of looked at his dad while he was getting it.
Oh no.
and that just made his dad even more angry and continued beating him. This all like didn't help John like socially or help him develop at all, because he just questioned everything about him, because he did feel like he should have been born a girl. Aww. Because he kept on getting called a sissy and the girl by his dad and stuff like that, to the point where he'd steal his mum's underwear, dress up as a girl, to the point where he'd put lipstick on and question if he was meant to be a girl. Eventually, he was seen to have a heart condition that just basically stopped him from doing anything physical, further distancing him from his dad, because it just sort of broke every chance his dad had of his son being an athletic lad.
So stupid.
So he literally wanted his son to be the stereotypical son, like lad,
yeah,
sort of thing.
That's so dumb, honestly. When people do that, it's so stupid. Like when they try to live through like their kids.
Eventually, after all, despite going through all this, he married a friend of his after getting into politics as a small politician who had dreams of becoming the part of the Senate or I think it was a major member of the Illinois, I believe it was a political party. Can't remember which party it was because I didn't feel it was important. Yeah, and a friend of his within the party, he had a daughter which he grew attracted to and, got married to. However, straight away, he wasn't a very loyal husband, because while his wife was giving birth, he was getting drunk with one of his male colleagues after work, and then took his male colleague home and had sex with him. Yeah, so this is another factor of him just going off the deep end, is the fact that, like, this was the beginning of it all. He started getting a taste for gay sex and really liked gay sex.
That's the thing, like when you
And
repress
it's that,
someone.
that's the thing.
Well, it's not the thing when you repress someone.
No, it's
not everyone that's repressed.
No,
goes
but
on to,
this
like,
is
kill
the most
people.
extreme factor of it
Yeah.
all, in which someone's so oppressed in such a way that when they do get to express themselves, they go off the deep end and feel like they need to be violent to keep it up.
And that's the worst part. Is like shit like this actually does happen.
So he seemed to gain addiction to sex as well, because he had a thing for wanting to get everyone to like him, in which he would he'd use this ability to study people and figure out what they liked, so everyone liked him and do what they
That's
wanted.
kind of like antisocial personality disorder.
Yeah,
type
he
thing.
would literally just study people, figure
Not
out
a
what they wanted
psychologist, by the way,
and what they
just
liked,
weird.
and just use that to shoot up
Yeah.
the political ladder and make as many mates as he can, to the
Yeah,
point.
well, it is a thing where like a lot of people that like are high ranking people and like fucking I don't know, like businesses and shit like that are like
they just don't
like quote unquote sociopath.
yeah,
and
because
and
they
shit
can
like
do
that.
the things like fire people and not give two shits about it.
Yeah, I mean
sort
it's part
thing.
of the trade of like just being in those like positions.
But this is why I wanted to do this, because it just gets crazy. Before he's even started to do anything violent, it gets crazy.
It's creepy.
This need to be liked by everyone extended to the point where he built a fully working service bar in his house for people to come over and have parties. Not that weird. I've seen 1 or 2 houses with bars inside of them. Pretty cool.
Like
quite
in The
nice.
Simpsons.
Yeah, pretty much. And but he also convinced his wife to help him throw swinger parties. And for people who don't know what swinger parties are,
But I mean, I guess if like both people are okay with it, but I mean, at the same time, he did
This
do
was
like
a
a
common
bit dirty.
thing.
But at the same time, like
It
if
wasn't
she
like-
was
no.
notified of it, I guess.
no, that's the thing. It's like, but it also allowed him to just one, get everyone to like him, because apparently they were really popular at the time. It was about the same time as that hippie love free
Yeah,
sort of.
when was this? Because I
movement.
know this wasn't that long ago, but it was a few years ago.
It was about the same time as the like the hippie movement and all that, where it was like love and peace, man. I can do that far too well. No, so him and his wife would regularly throw these swinger parties. For everyone who doesn't know, please don't Google it. You'll get the worst. If you're going to Google it, go in incognito mode like a smart little egg. But yes, these were sex parties in which members of the party would swap spouses and just have a full-on blown orgy. So they would quite regularly do this, and after a while, he got sick of it. He then decided to go a bit further, and his first violent case of sexual assault happened, in which he went after the young boy, because again, yes, he was having sex, but he wasn't having the gay sex that he wanted. He still felt like that was a separate part of him that needed to be fulfilled, to be like, he needed to have like embrace this side of him that for so long had been demonized. Oh, a quick little detail I forgot out. At his son's birth, his John Senior came to see the child. The only time he ever said he was proud of his son. Proud of his... Yeah. He was like, I'm proud of you, son, for being a straight guy. Why weren't you here? Oh, sorry, Dad, I was having gay sex.
Damn.
But yes, so he... a member of
But
his
see,
political party...
Just
he
that
was in-
alone has like had to be such an emotional roller coaster.
Oh yeah, like this man's life was a roller coaster. I loved hearing every second of it. But yeah, so one of the people his work associates within the political party he was in, had a son who looked up to John, saw him as quite a good role model, and wanted to be like John.
Don't do that, kid. Don't do it.
Oh, the kid didn't get... I think, no, right. They did get a chance to make the right decision. However, he did get raped in the process.
How was that the right decision?
No, it was a terrible decision. He got tricked into coming to see John by himself, and quite quickly John got the boy drunk. forced him to have sexual intercourse with him. I believe it was giving him a blowjob. Or oral intercourse in the
it's been said.
It's been said. We're on a late night show. It doesn't matter too much. I hope. But yeah, he and then used threats that he had connections to the mafia and the mob to try and keep the kids quiet, as well as paying them £50. He paid them $50 to keep quiet. It's like, yeah. But obviously, that didn't work. And he got sent to prison for it, because eventually the kids did break and tell people. And he went to prison for it for a few years. But somehow, he was still alright.
Didn't he like paint a bunch of pictures in jail?
Oh no, this is when he finally got caught for the big stuff. Okay. But while in prison,
which hopefully we will have
I
time.
think in prison he was violent to the gay inmates, as he sort of blamed the gay side of him for why he was in prison.
Yeah, a lot of like cases like that are very like resentful of their like homosexuality, even though at the same time like part of their thing is like indulging in it.
I think it was to a point where he walked by and found two prisoners again going down on each other, and decided to beat one of them so hard his face was a bloody pulp.
Oh.
Yeah, and this was just again hatred because he'd been caught, because he decided to.
It's just projecting his own shame for himself.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty much
like
exactly that. But he got out. Somehow he was barely ever affected by this, because people somehow did not find out that he'd sexually assaulted a minor. Okay. People barely knew. I think he moved back to his hometown, started anew, got back in politics. But as well as that, he still had an urge for... he still had an urge. Oh, before the sexual assault, he went into cruising, which is, at the time, was a standard gay thing for the gay community to do, in which gay guys would walk up into dark areas of the street, wait there, wait for another guy to sit next to them, take that as a, okay, let's go and have sex sort of thing, and do that. However, because of his, political standing, in which he became a well-known person, that's what drove him to go after the kid, is because he thought, I can't risk doing it in public anymore, because people will connect the dots will realise I'm cruising, so I'll just go after the kid of one of my biggest political party members.
Better option.
But yes, he comes out, he starts all over again. Quite obviously his wife left him.
Did she?
I'm just trying to think, because one of the stories involves the killing of a child that is left under the floorboards.
It's proper Edgar Allan Poe.
I think that might be John Wayne Casey. However, I can't remember at which point it was, so I'm just going to leave that one on. Yes, he did. One of his. Oh, I think it was the future wife. Yeah. Tries it on again with another kid, but this time knowing that the kid will speak out about it. Straight up kills the kid afterwards, and then hides body under the floorboards. Gets married again. They move into the same house that's got the kid under the floorboards. He just doesn't care.
Doesn't that smell something?
Oh, that's one of the reasons he got caught.
Oh, that's fucking stupid.
No, because he literally just built up the bodies as well. Yep. Right, but here's where Pogo comes in. Mm-hmm. So, to get a wider range of boys to diddle, he started going out as Pogo the Clown, who was loved by the community and he loved it, and John himself loved it because it allowed him to dress up.
Yeah, this might be the part that people might know about him, because like the character of I forget the name.
Twisty the Clown.
Twisty from American Horror Story
is based around
him.
But yes, and he used it as a way to get closer to the children of the community and abduct those who were easy targets for one reason or another.
Theory. Did John Wayne Gacy start the killer clown trend? And
that's a fit. Yes,
and
that
the It and Pennywise shit.
Yes, a lot of people, a lot of authors and media creators do credits John Wayne Casey as one of the main reasons clowns became creepy. Is that stigma stuck to the clown?
Didn't then actual celebrities like buy his artwork?
Oh yes, because he did make art in prison, didn't he? Yeah. But so he started using the pogo clown thing as a way to get kids and young adults as well, to the point where he first used it on his roommate. But here's the creepy detail I didn't know about. Pogo was a different personality. Oh. Not fully, like he did claim that it was split personality when he finally did get caught. Yeah, just
disassociation.
Yeah, he tried to claim it, but doctors and scientists found nothing wrong with his mental health. He was completely fine. There is many different theories that there's a handful of different like medical reasons why he gone crazy, but no one really knows for sure. But while in the pogo state, dressed as pogo, he would do the act dressed as pogo. He would like assault, keep the person hostage, assault, and then rape the person as pogo. And when not only just dressed as pogo and in his normal voice, no, he put the pogo voice on, which was a high-pitched sort of childish thing, and he would mock the person that he had hostage.
Oh, that's so fucking creepy.
It started off with his room and where he's like, I'm annoying you, in this really high-pitched sort of thing, and then started singing a lullaby that consisted of, I'm going to rape you.
Oh, no, fuck, no. I hate that.
Yeah, so that is what absolutely amazed me, is the fact that he did this while dressed like the clown. And I just thought he used the clown as a way to get close to people, and then did the
me too. I never really like looked into it or like found out that like it was also
it was part of the crime itself, and that makes it much more sense. That I always found it weird not knowing about that, thinking I was like, well, yeah, he did use it to get close to him, which is a bit creepy. And yes, he was a serial killer, but I don't know why they connected the crimes. Oh, he was dressed like that while doing... Okay, yeah. He was dressed like that while doing the crimes? Yeah, I totally understand the creepiness now.
I wonder if he, like, just washed them, like, costumes or, like, bought new ones, because, like, it's kind of hard to get, like, blood off of things.
Well, no, that's the thing, is he would usually use some sort of strangling or just... put that much chloroform on a person that would just knock them out. And then kill them that way by just putting that much chloroform in the system that they'd just die. And then he'd just either get rid of the bodies in... Pogo would get rid of the bodies by just burying them underneath his cellar. Again, with the rest of it.
Efficient.
When that got filled up, he just then resorted to fling them in ditches, and eventually that's how he got caught, as well as people eventually going, kind of stinks in this house, I wonder why, and then finding the bodies. But yes, to this day, to his dying breath, he insisted that he was innocent because and pleading insanity, because he pleaded that Pogo was a different personality. And that's why he put on the act. But again, there was no evidence found that, but there's still theories. But yeah, that's it's just that detail, the fact that like he was a massive sex pest, and just also the thought of being sexually assaulted by a clown doesn't sound nice at all.
Yeah, that's terrifying. But also, before we run out of time, which we are pretty much, and I'm sorry I took it so much time.
That's fine. It's payback for when I used to ramble.
But I thought that in order to get like more interaction with people, so they can like, I don't know, give us more like feedback and like tell us like what they think and all that stuff, I thought we might want to like do like questions related to the subject of each week. So like I feel like a question for this week which is very interesting, is like why do people like, what do you guys think?
Serial killers.
Yeah, like, do you think that they're made? Do you think that they're born? Like I don't know. It's just so interesting.
Do you think what do you think? I mean, I think we've had two good examples of that.
Yeah.
Today, in which it's like mine.
No regular people just person just goes out and kills someone and is okay with it to the point where they do it again. Multiple times.
That's what I thought I was going to be able to go on about today, because my other choice for today was H.H. Holmes.
Yes, and which that was also more things from American Horror Story, basically.
Yes, but to basically sum that one up, he was the exact opposite. He was the type of person that you'd go, no, he was just born evil, because he showed no remorse. He had no real reason to be.
It was systematic.
Yeah, and it was all just to gain money.
And
that
his
main
life
thing.
was pretty much dedicated to that.
Yeah, he was a swindler. He found any way to swindle people and then take the money, even if that meant taking a life. So that's why he did it. But meanwhile, then you've got Pogo the Clown sort of things where it's more of just years and years of psychological and physical abuse that have just turned this person.
Yeah, and like
into
Richard. Like,
so yeah.
what do you guys think about that? Those theories? Do you have theories of your own? Let us know in the comments or in our social media, which, it's on screen right now if you're watching us on YouTube.
For those who aren't, again, it is at Creepy Corner, at CP Creepy Corner, and _ at Creepy Corner.
Nice.
Smooth, that one, wasn't it? Yeah, baby.
But we are running out of time, though.
Yes,
so.
sorry again, guys. We will see you again very soon for the 24-hour
yes, we
charity on
Make
Wednesday.
sure to check that out.
That is on being started on Wednesday, the 3rd of April at 8 p.m. And again, as it says on the tin, 24 hours long.
Yes.
So hope to see you at some point in that day.
We'll remind you in our social media, and you don't have to check us out specifically. You can check out all the other people that are going to participate in it.
Yes, because we have got a fun lot over there, especially Joe, Traitor Joe, who is far from safe for work, just to say the least. But yeah, so we'll see you guys there.
Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next Monday. Well, watching.